curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen and into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I am curious and concerned, but there is no way I'm going down into a dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I also cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as their staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I'm not in high spirits right now, so I'm not as wholly benevolent. So this is decision time. If you open the hatch, you get possessed, you're locked into ending 1. I'll probably look into that for the 4th playthrough, which will probably be bits and pieces, but if you want to get the 2nd or 3rd endings, which is Hannah lives or Hannah dies, you have to call out. I knock 3 times. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me no results, and I've already touched the floor hatch far too many times for what I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I've learned from experience that people respond better to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them out.
You, in the cellar? Do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry. Just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
With how long I'm standing here, however, I'm starting to think myself as a fool. I did not want to acknowledge the other feeling I have, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with didn't sit too well with me, and I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me? Why, I ought to...
I freeze as a hand clamps down on my shoulder. The dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I kneel, unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest, but the touch is gone, as quickly as it had seized me. It is only Johannes I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that. You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
He grows silent for a moment and looks just concerned. At least I'd like to interpret it as concern, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand at my forehead before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What? Crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar? Can't you hear her?
Madam, Hannah, no one is down there.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicate of the keys. Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief. But when I listen once more, I hear no crying. Tugging at the hatch for good measure prove his words to be true, too. The thing won't budge unless I had a key, short of using power tools on it.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience. But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
There's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he says makes sense, and who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? I'm just tired, that's it. Long day of moving, the interview, dealing with Luke, that has drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right. Go on then. Gute Nacht.
Good night.
Good night, Johannes. Good night, house.
It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there's something wrong with this house, or there's something wrong with my head. Sleep will be elusive tonight. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today, of all days, is every bit upsetting because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I'm much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day, although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house, after all. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright Mansion. Every person of importance from Luxmore is invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important regardless of their status in society. Marion and I discussed business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much to change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had to acquiesce. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right, then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around, then? It'd be best if we can note down his requests right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, the lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I'm being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever with the plan to dress it up as gossip. Marianne's raised brow makes me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although that does make things better if she has no interest and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize what I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
And I don't know how this affects it, but I want to say be honest with me. So real quick, before...
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
And after.
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne's just more keen than the average person, of course. It is a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But, if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She trails off having said her piece and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There is a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words made me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years. Well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to, anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that these small spats, these little disagreements, will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. When did he start to seek other women, lacking any ulterior motives? When did we start to cooperate only to suit our materialistic greed and attention-seeking ways? Money and success, fame and glamour. Are those the only reasons we still stay together? There's a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure on how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of the temp agency which provides staff for Wright Enterprises in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and serveware good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. To peruse the stocks, to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor where thousands fill vases, wreaths, and baskets, while petals are scattered around the doorway up front. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. Like, I don't understand the significance of the reindeer itself, so I can't comment on that. It is followed by a simple cake, just a 5-tier white chiffon one, with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have at the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering with only a select few invited, namely the people who I'd actually trust enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering to them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke Wright. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman, who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me, just because my father owned a company. I insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison, and public relations, supervision of staff, and... well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looked for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke? Oh, Luke. The way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married, where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, and philosophy, to little things such as what we had for breakfast or whether we like cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands preferred wives who were docile and subordinate. A woman who will always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't hurry.
Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand Tours, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car, too. Convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxborn. So far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays?
Welcome, welcome everyone. Please, make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm if not strange sunshine we are experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Such as that young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Or that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure of why she is here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary the photographer as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. Yeah, and the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
I invited Father Norman, too. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion at my request, aside from my small donation to the church, of course. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. And then there are people like the Chief Inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again.
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. No offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body. I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Or would you?
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I mentioned how I don't trust him no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly until I'm pulled aside. For a while I stay with the small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not watching me anymore, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more but to make music. One of our hotel managers worries about the stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in security which should be brought up to higher authorities soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Then there is that rose-haired woman once again. It is hard not to notice her with her distinctive locks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the air she exudes instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already gotten her attention, have given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach intrigued, although it is no great mystery what occupies her attention, with the glance she keeps saying towards the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I'm there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it's a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down his offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
In all my life, I've never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, and though I'm used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty. She looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call the security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. All I hear is her laughing, taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I'm nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. But then in a blink she's gone, and the buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but... Are you alright?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
The name is familiar, like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly haven't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses! And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A. What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stillness. Perhaps I've triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone with an earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
This is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right? You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
There is a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years.
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway. There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress, or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all of that years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls, as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at that time, enough for her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter in the moment as I mull over what she's just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There's no time to ponder over that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music of strings and the chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer opens. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else this late would be simply too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person, or rather, one man. There's only one man who was audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks. How they listen, enraptured, even if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hands here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that if he is not to be a businessman, he would do well as an entertainer. I love this side of him, especially when he looks at me, and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and make my way to Luke's.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There's a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hands and greet him personally, praises on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with fury in her eyes, and she's already spitting venom. Johannes restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. But that does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an empty glass of wine in her hand. How much has she imbibed in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out among the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol on her breath. I'm not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I'm absolutely pissed by the fact that she didn't endanger her own baby by drinking. There's a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient if tight smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I'm just about to ask that exact same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass! You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens.
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk. That's all it is. Just completely and utterly mad. Has anyone seen the Chief Inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility. God damn it, Luke. I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me.
What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me. I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby? Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
It is now that Johannes returns with security, along with a concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move her to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man.
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Yes, that's right. There's no way that what Rochelle says is the truth. What she says doesn't match up. I know Luke. If such a scandalous meeting are to be arranged, he won't do it in such an exposed place, especially not near his precious flowers. And he definitely won't promise responsibility over a child unless it can be helped. Besides, Luke will never... He will never go as far as to sleep with another woman, right? Okay, fine. Who am I kidding? If I'm to be completely honest with myself, he might cheat. With a bit of temptation and a bit of alcohol, he just might. And doesn't that just make my blood boil, to even think of the slightest possibility of infidelity? Lee isn't too far off when he told me how Luke still acted like some young hotshot bachelor. Starts to make me think. So, break is needed, puts you on the divorce track. Happy ending, I think, means the marriage can still be saved. Now, I think you do need to go for this one if you want to get Zach's romance, because you'll end up spending a little bit of time with him. So just in case someone is interested, I will create a save file here that I can play later. And it's a maybe, we might come back, but we're going to try to save their marriage, as I said. It takes 2 to tango unlocked. So that's actually a huge swing in his favor, but I'm still highest with Marianne. Becky's words are still fresh in my mind, and I can't help but think that the girl, plucky woman that she is, has a point. If I love Luke, I'll have to fight for him, don't I? So far I've been doing nothing and sitting on my behind, hoping it'll fix itself. This whole mess definitely isn't going to fix itself. How dare that woman try to drag her name and our relationship through the mud with her lies? And at my own party. Determination fires up as I take a step forward in the middle of the fray. All the while she's been screaming. I signal for security to stop, and I can already feel the glower on my face as I stare into hers. She wilts as soon as she sees me. She starts to grow anxious, and her protests die down. I can see her as haughty. Angry expression turns into a horrified realization. Rightfully so. She should be scared. What is that thing they say again? Never wake a sleeping dragon? They often think that Luke is the one in charge, that he is the one to be feared and appeased. They think me as only the pretty wife. They forget that I am just as capable, just as worthy of respect.
I invite you, my friend, into my house on a day of merriment, and you insult my name and accuse my husband of infidelity. What have I ever done to make you treat us with such disrespect? You are no longer welcome in any of our estates, our properties, and our businesses. And we will no longer patronize yours. Now, escort the girl and make sure she isn't standing even an inch within our grounds.
She looks devastated. Reasonable. This does make her into a pariah, doesn't it? I should feel concerned, but I can't find even an inkling of mercy within me. I don't know what her plan was. I don't know what she wanted to make out of this. The money? Luke? It doesn't matter what she wanted.
You won't show your face to me ever again if you know what is good for you, Rochelle. Take her away.
The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is so set that one can practically hear a pin drop. There are worried and almost fearful glances from some of the guests, but they all know this is well within my right. She is the one who started this whole dilemma. It just so happens that I'm the one ending it. As long as everyone hold their tongue and don't interfere, none of the consequences matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. It almost seems as if he's proud of what I've done, and that spurs me on more than anything. Nonetheless, I still act upset because this does not change what just happened. He still has a lot to answer to. Because even if the woman is lying, there is always an inkling of truth in every lie. So when I turn on him to say that the shock he displays brings me gratification is an understatement. Of course, there's no reason to make a husband and wife spat into a public spectacle. Some privacy will generate the least number of headaches and complications. Everyone is still far too busy in the ballroom. Most of the staff are still in the kitchen. A sharp glance at anyone who'll go through the doors is all it takes to make them retreat. And the most private we can get without me dragging Luke all the way to our bedroom is the foyer.
And you? We are going to talk about this, Lucille Mitchell-Wright. Not now, but we will talk about this.
Right! I swear that is not my child, no matter what that woman says. Hannah, darling, you believe me, don't you?
I believe that it isn't your child, but you never said that you did not cheat on me with her. We'll have a talk about that tomorrow, among other things.
What for? What other things?
About us, Luke. This isn't right, this doubting each other and not talking. That's why we'll talk. If anyone needs me, I'll be in our room. I'm in no mood to be talking with anyone about anything, especially nosy baggers who have no business with any of it.
Should I be worried? Scared? Because you know threats do not work with me, Hannah.
None of those. You should know I'm not your enemy, Luke. I need rest. That's all.
Of course, you must be so tired. You've earned some peace. I'll take over the party from here.
Good night, love.
Good night, Buttercup.
Sometimes I forget that leaving Luke to handle a party is a horrible idea. Because come morning, the dining hall is a mess with a few of his drunk friends sleeping about. At least a dozen men and women are scattered about, sleeping like they are in alcohol-induced comas. Even Officer Lee is there, sleeping off the effects and still clutching a bottle of 1998 Jumilla. No doubt, Luke has served some of his stores in absinthe. Judging by the faint burnt smell, they set fire to the latter too. Neue Bohemian. There's only so much I can tolerate as we have Johannes retrieve every single one and get them a cab. And they are everywhere. At the table, on it, and underneath it, and some are even in the kitchen.
Nap time is over, Kinder. Time to go.
Children. And oh dear, does this piss our valet, though he is still a man of silent fury. Although it is little treat to hear him utter curses in German from the other room. I imagine Luke will be amused as well, if it isn't his guests that are being thrown out. Instead, he's brooding in his seat, rolling a stalk of daffodil in between his fingers.
He's energetic, and you aren't drunk. That, or you are getting better with handling your hangovers without your dog hairs. Should I be looking out the window to see if the sky has turned red and if pigs have started to fly?
I am unfortunately completely sober, Hannah.
And how does it feel not being hungover?
Still miserable.
It'll get better.
Or so they say. You wanted to talk about something?
You know, for once, I wish you were hungover. Maybe this isn't the best time for this talk.
No, please. I do not like loose ends. And this is a bloody ugly loose end.
Then, first things first, I want you to be honest with me, just between the two of us, without others to impress, without people listening in, just you and me.
Did you or did you not sleep with Rochelle and got her pregnant?
I didn't get her pregnant, but the thought of having a child with her? Can you just imagine it? Or rather, don't. I can already see it. It'll look like that ruddy pig boy from that Young Wizard book.
So I'm not entirely sure which one he's talking about exactly. Unfortunately, there are quite a few Young Wizard books, and after the whole Harry Potter thing, it's getting a lot more common. It's possible he could be talking about Harry Potter. I don't really know the stories myself to comment, but wow. Insulting the kid before it's even born, Luke.
I don't care about once upon a time. What I'm asking is if you were with her the other night during my party.
Him not showing up in most of our gatherings I've hosted in the past is nothing new, of course. The one I've had last week is no different. It's merely another thing I've gotten used to between us after things turned sour. But after Rochelle's outburst last night, I won't deny feeling the disappointment. The betrayal. What's done is done, however, though at the very least I still want to hear the truth from him.
She made me meet with her the night of your party, but I swear, I only agreed to go so that I could tell her I wasn't having none of it. It isn't my baby. I don't even think it's Lee's. Poor bloke. I mean, I probably slept with her once. We were probably incredibly drunk, but that would have been a long time ago before she was preggo.
Are you sure, Luke? You're not making anything up or leaving anything out?
Of course not. I swear it on my mother's grave.
He swears it, he says, as he hands me the flower with such tenderness. And I believe him.
Well, if that's all you wanted to talk about, you shouldn't have made me worry.
For the sake of my sanity and for the sake of our marriage, I'll pretend that you never said any of that. Are you sure you aren't drunk now?
Haven't had a single drop and hating it.
Would you like something to drink? Because I'm not done. I have something else to tell you.
No thanks. Maybe I will after this little talk you wanted to have. I already told you, and you already said you believe me that the brat isn't my child. I already spilled that I might have had drunken sex with her once, and you wish to wipe that off your memory. So do we have anything else to talk about? Because have at it. I'm all ears.
You're pretty miffed for someone who just admitted to his wife that he's cheated.
And you're stalling. I can tell that incident has you shaken up. So why don't you just spit it out and get this all over with?
I'm pregnant.
What? Come again?
You heard me.
You've got to be kidding, right? This must be some kind of joke. Are you taking the piss at me? Because, woman, I don't need a second fake pregnancy.
Instead of answering, however, I stay silent and let the matter of the facts sink into his head. His face heats up for a moment before he goes pale. He raises a hand in the hopes of asking for a drink, but the morning staff are still busy evicting the last of his inebriated companions. And he doesn't even bother to bark out orders, as if he's lost his very voice. Actually, he looks like he's on the verge of hyperventilating.
This is Anna, darling. I need some air. How long have you been?
3 months. And they're twins. Although we don't know yet if they're a boy or a girl or both.
Good God! Twins! I'm going to be a father to 2 tiny babies.
I like how high-pitched his voice got with this word.
Breathe, Luke! Breathe!
Goodness, Luke, I'm the one who's pregnant here, not you.
Now don't judge me! Stay away!
A scream cuts off my amusement. Without thinking, Luke and I rush to the foyer. There stands a crazed-looking chief inspector, trashing about as he tries to make it up the stairs while Johannes holds him back.
What is going on here?
Und tschüss. All the Schweinehunde must leave, including you, Chef Inspector.
So I think this is guests, but I don't know what this means.
This one is very problematic and will not leave.
No, you can't make me leave. I need to stay here for her. I need to help her.
Oh, Rochelle? She's probably already at home, dearie. Or she might have already gone and skipped town. Who knows?
Oh, for the love of... There's no point talking logic in him. Lee, go home. You're drunk.
Can't you hear her crying? She was crying, just weeping and in so much pain last night. I couldn't help her. Drunk, sobbing bastard that I am. But my help. She needs my help. Tell your fucking stupid lapdog to let go of me, Luke! Or I'm gonna knock him down and I'm gonna knock the two of you down too!
Language! I've already dealt with your wife, so don't make me deal with you, Lee. Or I swear I'll...
Hana, enough. Don't stress yourself over him. It'll be bad for the twins. So go back to your breakfast and let me handle this, okay?
Are you sure?
Why wouldn't I be? Now, go ahead and do something less stressful.
Go ahead. And do nothing. There isn't much to do, it seems, whenever I step up to the plate and try to take responsibility for something. Perhaps because everything is already being handled by someone hired specifically for the job. And with Johannes overseeing the staff, and Luke handling everything else as a whole, that doesn't leave much for me. I can't even take the job of delegation because all it takes is a word to one of the senior staff, and everything will be taken care of for me. Moving in here a few days ago may very well have been the chore that took the most effort from me. And that didn't take any real effort at all.
Yes, Hana, go buy a mansion in the middle of nowhere. Good idea. Great plan.
There are no dishes to set aside and busy myself with. Any mess left behind is now nearly non-existent. To sit on a counter while eating cake is supposed to be my next plan. Alas, there isn't even one to finish off, and I don't really know what brought me to the kitchens in the first place. It's not like I'm craving anything else, nor do I have any unfinished business left here. But there's a calling to this room. Speaking of calling, why not just do that? Might as well, since I have nothing else to do. At least that will require some effort on my part. With how cut off from the rest of Luxembourg the mansion is, and with how long it was abandoned before we moved in, having a landline is out of the question. The solution is supposed to be our mobiles, though it isn't much considering how spotty the signal is in the area. It'll take a bit of maneuvering to get even a single bar as it is. It takes a bit, as I said it would. I have to park my rear on one of the cold drawers, but that suits me just fine. Another matter that needs my effort is who to call. She who must not be named is certainly off the list. That doesn't leave much in the category of close friends who attended the party, along with the category of who else is awake at this early hour. But soon enough I manage and the call goes through.
Hello, Rebecca Gales here. Who's this?
Good morning, Becky.
Hannah? Oh, wait, how did you get my number?
You responded to your RSVP through the phone. It's all saved in here, of course. I thought I'd like to say hi and make plans and get together sometime. Also, I'd love to hear news about your mother and father and about you, my dear. Oh, I hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, you're good. It's sports day at school today, so I was just prepping for that.
Figures that you'd be a teacher as well. I'm sure your students must absolutely adore you.
Only when they're sober.
Don't know about that.
Mathematics?
History, actually. Anyway, it's real nice to know you've got my number. I was going to ask for yours because Mom wanted to keep in touch.
You could have asked, silly girl. I would have gladly given it to you.
Couldn't, though, because, well, the thing that happened. But really am sorry, though. I gotta run. School, schedule, stuff. Is there anything else you want to say? Don't want to use the mobile while driving.
Oh, of course, of course. I shouldn't keep you. But I wanted to thank you for your company yesterday.
Not a problem.
And for that other thing as well.
What for now?
For what you said to me. With what had happened. It's been very helpful in...
The call starts to go to static, much to my frustration. A strange clicking noise drowns out most of her words, too. I doubt she can understand what I'm saying. And the line completely dies. I can feel a headache coming along. It's just building up, starting from a light throbbing on one side of my head. The static is gone, and that helps a lot. But there's still that incessant, horrible clicking. Again and again and again. Which doesn't make sense. The mobile's turned off, isn't it? And if it isn't coming from the phone, then where? Looking about, I can't help but let my eyes be drawn to the hatch leading into the wine cellar once more. That's when the clicking stops, and I can hear that crying. That familiar crying from before. What happened the other day when I was told that nobody should have been down there? I tried to forget it because of how it settled me so. One can hardly do that when I'm looking at the very thing I'm trying to forget. Somebody is crying down there again. But if I leave it alone, it simply won't stop bothering me for the rest of the day. They might have forgotten to lock it with the party going on.
This again? If somebody is pulling my leg, I will not be happy.
True enough. All it takes is a bit of a pull to open the hatch. As I look down to the cellar, a sense of uneasiness washes over me. It isn't just the sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but also the darkness. It's suffocating. And as I look down, it feels as if it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. The cries drown beneath the shrieks that start echoing in my head, high and shrill, like nails being dragged across a chalkboard. They're all screaming, shouting at me, and I can just feel her rage. Help me. She wants to drown me, drag me down, and crush me in the very depths of darkness until there is nothing left of me. The deep abyss waits for me, for my death. They're all calling for it. This is a nightmare. There's a rope around my neck and I can feel the rest of me being torn apart. And they're still screaming. I'm screaming. Though it is not my voice that escapes my lips. It claws through, climbing up and forcing its way up my throat like putrid bile. I choke and gag, yet I scream and shriek all at the same time. And I'm me, but not me. It pushes me down to my knees before I'm prone and vulnerable on my stomach. It makes me tumble, and I can just feel my whole body seizing, writhing on the floor. Everything and nothing hurts. It feels like I'm on the verge of death. And if I'm not dying, I nearly wish I actually am.
Hannah? Hannah, what is going on in here? Why are you?
Prince!
Seeing Luke, something snaps back, and I'm able to take a gasp of air on my own volition for the first time in what felt like centuries. I would have rejoiced and cried for his name if the pain still did not rack my body. All I can do is stare listlessly as he comes to my side and lifts me up, cradling me in his arms. He tries to get me to my feet, perhaps to take me out of here. But all he's able to do is get me to sit, make sure I'm not trashing on the floor. I can still feel my muscles spasm, limbs jerking like a puppet's on a string. Luke holds me tight and keeps me still so that I do not hurt myself anymore. Whatever it is that happened, it has my mind feeling frayed and battered. Eventually, the pain dies down into a dull ache, and my own tongue stops feeling like cotton. It's only now that I can feel the wetness on my cheeks, tears streaking down my face. Coughing racks my body now that I don't feel like choking, and it just all feels so horrible. But I don't care. I don't care.
Luke, please.
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hannah. You're safe now.
And that's the end of the chapter. So keep in mind this run on Hannah's will not be able to be used for the true ending, while Isabella's should be able to be recycled. For hers, I still don't know if you have to let her be possessed or curse her, but we'll be crossing one of these two bridges for that. But anyway, good enough to call it quits here. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.